Hello, this is Tarregor. This is my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus, part of it. This video is a Twitch stream that was not edited, so it's going to look like a Twitch stream. The design direction of my vision of Classic Plus is substantially different from that of Retail WoW, Circuit Shadowlands, and the private servers, Vanilla Plus and Turtle WoW. This is partially because it aims to fix Vanilla WoW's many problems first, flesh out and polish what's already there second, and add new content third. This is part of a playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the playlist. The document displayed is my vision of WoW Classic Plus. And the document's version number is version 1.5.16. All versions of the document are based upon patch 1.12.2 of World of Warcraft, the one before the Burning Crusade pre-patch. If you just want to know about the general design direction of my vision of WoW Classic Plus before you otherwise look into this, then watch the introductory video in this playlist, or read the document yourself and look at the list of major features. The link to the document is in my channel's About page. That, and I do not have a team of people, or however, working with me to make an actual private server out of this. This is all pure design thus far, and it ain't done yet. Now first off, as I had covered in other videos in this playlist, all items in the entire game that had an item level above 65 were squished down to an item level of 65. And all raids harder than Upper Blackrock Spire, excluding world bosses, were turned into 40-man raids, and they exclusively drop item level 65 epic items, with a tiny chance for select items that are required for legendary weapon quest chains. So there's only going to be one tier of raids, and it's going to be hard. On a related note, world bosses only drop item level 63 epics now. Though also that the PvP ranking system is being replaced with a new one, and that all rank-based PvP rewards are being nerfed to item level 65. Though there will be more rewards, so rank 14 players can wear PvP epics in every slot but their shirt, and not just several equipment slots like in vanilla. That and epic battleground rewards are being nerfed to item level 63. Note also that world buffs were massively nerfed, and that buff stacking in general is heavily revised as well, and that the debuff limit is being increased to 255, shared with buffs, however. The limit will be shared with buffs. All that said, every class is going to have far less gear and buffs to scale with than they had in vanilla, so keep all that in mind while you watch this video. Note also that all flasks were changed so that they will not do anything unless you're the influence of a flask-enabling spell. Warlocks get 2 of them. Each flask requires a player to be under the effects of a specific flask-enabling spell, 40 flasks to have any effects upon the player. As you'll see according to the relevant spell descriptions, as I go over them, these spells are intended to force players to only use flasks in certain scenarios, such as 40-man raids, in order to keep tryhards on a leash. Now then, the actual changes. Well, first, the agenda before the actual changes. I generally want to fix potential exploits, flesh out the class some more, make soul shards be named after the creature that it came from, optionally. Make destruction, extra optionally anyway. Make destruction warlocks be worth something in raids, including the Molten Core, and the Blackwing Lair. You know, destruction warlocks have all those fire damage talents below 20 points. Anyway, I want to make Curse of Doom be usable on players, though with a very large PvP damage penalty. Some functionality is better than none. I want to discourage people from making a Warlock ult just so they can make money by summoning people, especially if they otherwise hate the class. I want to discourage people from making a permanently level 1 ult just to help a Warlock summon people. Well, except you might level up from Excellation next week, but still. I want to make no talent be useless when someone else in your group has it. I want to do things related to other sections of the document. I want to make rating specs be better at PvP without those same specs being optimal PvP specs. I want to make PvP specs be better at rating without those same specs being optimal rating specs. I want to make no talent be useless in PvP, and I want to make no essential rating talent be useless in solo play. Now then, on to the actual execution of the changes. First off, the words "empowered by demonic blood" will be removed from the character creation screen's description of warlocks. Not all warlocks use that stuff to fuel their magic, and most do not have it in their veins, retcon or not. Warlocks will only gain 1 attack power per strength, seeing as how they do not have a good thematic reason to get more attack power per strength than hunters and rogues do. Firestones don't count as a reason. Firestones only gave you a chance on hit to deal extra, a chance on melee hit to deal extra damage in order to compensate for the loss of damage of base melee damage when going from a staff to a one-handed weapon plus offhand frill. So it basically just made your one-handed weapon hit like a staff. That's what that's the melee damage of Firestones are for. Or so I'm assuming anyway. It seems like a really good reason to do it. Anyway, so Warlocks no longer have mastery over fire, but instead over Fel Fire, also known as Green Fire. This explains why they don't get the same fire spells that mages get, and vice versa. As such, Hellfire, what the fuck even is Hell? Hellfire is getting renamed to Fellblaze. Rain of Fire will be renamed to Rain of Felfire. Firebolt will be renamed to Felfire Bolts. The Imp ability. Imp Spell. Fire Shield, the Imp Spell, will be renamed to Felfire Shield. Shadowburn will be renamed to Consume Soul, and all Warlock fire spells, because I feel like it in this case, and all Warlock fire spells and talents will have their visuals, icons, text, and related elements, parts of the spells that is, changed accordingly. I'm going to say parts of the spells instead of elements. Elements implies elemental stuff. Your related parts of the spells change accordingly, and non-player character abilities will also be changed accordingly, but the rest of the design document has yet to reflect this. The bonus fire damage from Firestones will be changed as such. Lesser Firestones grant plus 14 fire damage in total. Regular ones, plus 17 in total. Greater ones, plus 21 in total. And major ones, plus 29 fire damage in total. These, of course, are increased by the talent Master Conjurer. See Demonology talent changes below. This will make major Firestones be on par with raid quality offhand frills, and make non-major ones be accordingly strong. For their level, anyway. Do note that the fire damage on melee hit, which is still going to be there, served to compensate for a one-hand zock of damage compared to a staff, and to not turn warlocks into hard-hitting melee characters, which I already said. Designed out Firestones being hyper offensive is not an issue since paladins and shamans cannot wield these over shields. You know, I just remembered that this is not an issue anyway because paladins and shamans actually get a penalty if they don't use a shield. Unless they're using it. Excuse me. Actually get a penalty if you're using a one-hand without a shield. After low levels, anyway. Actually, no, that's just after low levels with fucking period. Anyways. Now, what was I going to say here? Design note. Consider slightly nerfing non-major Firestones. I forget if I accounted for item name quality when designing the lower ranks or not. Item quality, yeah. Whether it's green, blue, or epic, or white. Well, actually, green, blue, or epic in this case. Anyways. Curse of the Elements will be renamed to Curse of Thermal Vulnerability, pending renaming. Seeing as how Curse of the Elements does not affect nature resistance, nor nature damage taken. Warlocks will get a new spell that functions like Eyes of the Beast, does not work on enslaved demons, and cancels phase shift and prevents it from being cast for further duration. This is to help with platforming, as far as that is, though it may also open up possibilities for new unit strategies, which is probably going to be okay. Platforming such as that one jump you have to make in the Wailing Caverns. I can't think of any other examples right now. Curse of Doom may be casted on players, but it'll deal 75% less damage, coefficient included, to players, including minions. I would prefer to somehow deal full damage to players without being extremely overpowered, but I really don't know how to go about accomplishing that, so for now, let's do this. Here's something that I said in the agenda. Shadowbolt will be renamed to Fellbolt, and its visuals will be changed to be green and possibly to have a different model. Warlocks do not have void magic, retcon or not. They are not priests, they are warlocks, they use spell magic. Death Coil will be renamed to Goldan's Wrath. and its visuals will be changed to something else, which will probably end up being a green version of Pyroblast. Warlocks do not have death magic. They are not necromancers. However, the lore characters known to be warlocks that do have death magic anyway are retcons to also be necromancers. That is, they have two classes, not just one. Warlocks and necromancers. By the way, you cannot be a necromancer in this game. You cannot play as one. That is not a playable class. Moving on. Unending breath will be renamed to breathlessness. This change is made after thinking about how spell magic thematically works. I don't feel like going over that right now. I have not rehearsed that. In fact, I haven't rehearsed any of this video except for the introduction. Anyway, moving on. New spell. Summon Fellfire. Destruction School. 8 ranks. 30 yard range. Not a projectile. Baseline spell. Summons Fellfire to engulf the target, instantly dealing X to Y fire damage to the target, and then dissipating. This spell will give Warlocks a spammable fire damage spell that does not produce high threat, and it is not bad damage per second, nor particularly mana inefficient when spammed. For PvP, they already had Searing Pain, by the way. This spell will have visuals and sound effects as if you were summoning a demon, except it will summon Fellfire instead of a demon. For specifics about Summon Fellfire are as follows. Rank 1, 17 22 damage, 1.7 second cast, 48.57% scaling, 30 mana, level 4. And then yada, etc. Rank 8, 329 to 428 damage, 2.5 second cast, 71.43% scaling, 310 mana, requires level 60. Searing Pain's mana cost will be increased by 15%, making Summon Fellfire more often be worth casting over Searing Pain when you don't care about threat or have to talent Bane. It'll be ensured that Curse of Tongues causes NPCs to speak demonic when they speak. Non-player characters with voice acting can just not play the relevant sound files, if that would be an issue. Curse of Weakness will reduce the enemy's damage up by either its flat damage reduction or 5%, whichever would be greater. But it'll have a reduced chance to affect enemies above the level that you learned to rank the spell at, plus 11. Such that each level higher incurs a 3% spell hit penalty. This will still stack up to Burl and Shout / Roar and Screech, by the way. However, it will not stack effects of weakness. This will serve to cause Warlocks to actually cast this spell in raids. The hit penalty serves to make Warlocks actually learn ranks 2 through 6 of the spell and not downrank it, given the 5% part. Curse of Recklessness will be similarly changed, in case you actually want to read that. You can pause the video there. Anyway. Detect Greater Invisibility will also act as Detect Invisibility and Detect Lesser Invisibility. And Detect Lesser Invisibility will also act as Detect Lesser Invisibility, because it makes more sense to do this than not to do this. As a result of the above change, Detect Greater Normal and Lesser Invisibility will no longer stack with each other. Detect Greater Invisibility will prevent the RC from affecting you if it's up, and Detect Normal and Greater Invisibility will also prevent you from consuming elixirs of Detect Lesser Invisibility. I doubt that the loss of spell fodder matters that much, considering how good Warlocks already were at PvP. Any given player may have only one health stone across their inventory and bank at a time, regardless of the type of health stone, in order to keep tryhardery on a leash. Ritual of Summoning's description shall read as such, and these spells shall be changed accordingly. Quotation mark. Begins a ritual of summoning a targeted group member. Requires the caster and 2 additional group members to complete the ritual. All players performing the ritual must be out of combat, right-click on a portal, and not move until the ritual is complete. You cannot perform the ritual if you are more than 12 levels below the recipient's level, and the recipient must be between levels X and Y. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready now. Rank 1 of Ritual Summoning is learned at level 20 and can summon level 10 to 28 players. Rank 2 is learned at level 28 and can summon level 10 to 36 players. Rank 3 is learned at level 36 and can summon level 10 to 44 players. Rank 4 is learned at level 44 and can summon level 10 to 52 players. And then Rank 5 is learned at level 52 and can summon level 10 to 60 players. Ritual summoning may no longer be casted while anyone in your group or raid is in combat, unless the caster is in a battleground in order to prevent exploits. Ritual summoning will not be allowed to summon players outside of battlegrounds to battlegrounds, nor vice versa, nor may it summon a player from one battleground to another, nor may it summon a player from one battleground to another instance of that same battleground, and if a player in a battleground... I like doing that. And if a player in a battleground has a summoning confirmation window up, and then the battleground ends, the confirmation window will automatically decline to summon him. This is to prevent various exploits from occurring. If it was not the case before, Enslaved Demon will only affect NPCs that up to caster level +2, hard capped at 1 level before the next rank, if applicable, to make sure that it is useful at every level after you get it. Drain Soul will tick once per second instead of once per 3 seconds. Its base damage over 15 seconds will be multiplied by 5, and its spell damage scale will be increased to 500% over its duration. That is one third of 100% per tick. And its base mana cost will be multiplied by 2.5 as part of making Affliction Warlock spam Drain Soul, their channel damage dealing spell that doesn't do anything else except getting you a soul shard, over Fellbolt. The quest, Summon Felsteed, will be turned into a small quest chain that I've yet to determine the specifics of, except that it will require substantial expenditure of gold to be completed. You'll have to do the whole quest chain to get your 60% mount that's no longer free, but it'll still be cheaper than its regular mount. This will help to flesh out the class. Grimoire of Doom and Grimoire of Inferno will be removed from the game, as mentioned in a different video, if I recall correctly. As such, you'll have to actually do your class quests to learn those spells. Healthstones will no longer be able to crit, less I would have to bounce items that it shares a cooldown with around Healthstones being able to crit. All said items would have to be around 8% more powerful if Healthstones could crit, and I do not want that. Healthstones will only share their cooldown with the items listed under the relevant entry in section number 3.0.14 changes. Speaking of which... Now, what was it? No, not these. Hold on. Oh, I referenced the wrong section. It's 3.0.8. Proc slash on use changes. Okay, I'm going to go back to that right now. So yeah. Okay, the following items will share cooldowns with each other and only each other, with the cooldown invoked on all the items being equal to the cooldown of the triggering item. Again, only each other. Design note, the itemization point budgets of the below items are based off of health stones and they share a cooldown of them. All these items have complicated formula itemization points, where its character level equals expected character level. So, major health stones end up having exactly this many itemization points, 126.8, 1159, etc., etc. And that makes them heal for exactly 1,200 hit points when used, cannot crit. So yes, all health stones share cooldowns with elemental protection potions, frozen runes, battle standards, Travel in Holy Water, Storm in Holy Water, which is like Travel in Holy Water but not as good, and Stranglethorn Veil Holy Water from that spring. Dark Runes, Demonic Runes, Whipperroot Tubers, Night Dragon's Breath, Crystal Restores, Razor Lash Roots, Lily Roots, Crystal Basilisk Spines, Thistle Tea, Love Fools, Cinder Bracers, Mechanical Reaches, Magic Dust, which by the way is severely nerfed. Magic Dust was really fucking nerfed. Magic Candle, and Unconscious Stigrat. How did I nerf Magic Dust? What I actually did is give it a 50% chance to backfire. 25% chance to affect you and the target, 25% chance to just affect you. Anyway, moving on. Each type of health zone will heal for the following base values, such as the itemization budgets are consistent with all other items that share a cooldown with them. Minor heals for 125, up from 100. Lesser heals for 300, up from 250. Design note, rounded out from 307 to become a cleaner looking number. Regular, 550, up from 500. Greater ones still heal for 800, and then major ones still heal for 1200. New spell, Summon Felguard. Demonology School, 1 rank. Learned from a level 40 quest chain. Requires 100% of base mana. Requires a new Regan that has a base cost of 25 silver. Regan standards I haven't decided what will be called yet. 1 hour cooldown. 10-second cast. Summons a Felguard remains under the control of the caster for 5 minutes. Once control is lost, the Felguard must be enslaved to maintain control. This is not like a Succubus, Voidwalker, Fel Hunter, or Imp. It's in the category beings that Infernals and Dugars are in. Yeah, it's an enslaved kind. Enslaved only kind. The kind that you actually have to cast Enslaved Demon on after the initial casting wears off. Free casting wears off. So, the Felguard will have a Rage bar as its resource, not a mana bar. That's a Rage bar. The Felguard's ability will be Charge, rank 2, and Cleave, rank 3, at level 40. Those are the warrior ranks. The ranks get higher as it levels up, as the Felguard is something at a higher level that is, like a warrior. The Felguard deals base damage equal to that of an Infernal's physical damage, obviously less before level 50, and the Felguard's attack speed is going to be 4.00. The Felguard has as much health and armor as an untalented Voidwalker of its level. The cast type of Summon Felguard, due solely to somatics, is affected by Master Summoner and Fel Domination. Why would Warlocks be able to summon Dugars and Infernals, but not Felguards? That's a real reason I added this spell. That right there, thematics. The only reason I need. Provided that game mechanics would work out, anyway. New spell, Ritual of Demonic Strength. Demonology School. 1 rank. Learned from a grimoire that requires level 60 use. 100% of base mana cost. Requires a new Regan that I get to define that has a base, yet to name, that has the base cost of 1 gold at Regan's vendors. 2 hour cast. 2 hour cooldown. 10-second cast. Creates an altar in front of you that stands for 5 minutes. If you have 39 other level 60 players in your group all click on the altar, you'll begin the Ritual of Demonic Strength. After 30 consecutive seconds of participation from all 40 people, the altar will begin to glow. This causes all in your group that touch the altar afterwards to be able to benefit from a flask of demonic strength for 2 hours. The enabling of which persists through death and cannot be dispelled. The spell overwrites similar effects. It will end early if anyone leaves your group. Hold on. Similarly effects means all other flask enabling spells. These similar effects. The other flask enabling spells such as Ritual of Supreme Power. The 30 seconds of participation counts as channeling, and it can be interrupted, so make sure there ain't any enemies around you to cast this. This and similar spells serve to cause players to only use flasks in 40-man raids, World PvP, and Alterac Valley pre-mades. By the way, I made a lot of changes to how Battleground Ks work and to the PvP ranking systems, so don't worry about pre-mades versus pugs. And then, this spell will wear off early if you leave a battleground. New spell, Ritual of Supreme Power. This is like Ritual of Demonic. This is exactly the same as Ritual of Demonic Strength, except it only works for Flask of Supreme Power. By the way, Flask of Demonic Strength is a new flask that increases the Imbibers' strength by plus 120, provided that you're under the effects of Ritual of Demonic Strength, of course. Warlocks will be able to permanently increase the Fire, Frost, Nature, Shadow, or Arcane resistance of their Imp, Voidwalker, Succubus, or Fel Hunter. So, 1 resistance for each demon. Similar to how Hunters can increase their pet resistances with the same values. However, each of your demons will only have 1 of their resistances increased at a time. This will allow Warlock demons to be much more capable than before surviving in raids to some extent. Though they're still going to need some more probably. It'll consequentially also buff them to PvP, however. So yeah, I'm going to have to do more Warlock demons than just this to enable them to survive in raids. And I am doing more, but still not enough. I'm probably going to have to make them take X% less AoE damage, like maybe 90% less AoE damage. Just so that mechanics that are intended to like one-shot players and shit like that do not one-shot like Warlock demons and shit like that. Anyway, I am hesitant to do something like that because I don't like the thematics involved in making hunter pets do that. Though it would be easy enough to make demons do that, I suppose. Because magic. But hunters don't get so much magic. Anyway. Improved Drain Soul, not grant you a buff after performing a killing blow while draining the enemy's soul. Instead, it'll increase the damage up by Drain Soul by 10/20%. Design notes. Hunters use life magic more than anything else. Actually, no, they use it about as much as arcane magic, I suppose. Actually, no, I guess they use like hunters perhaps have enough mastery over life magic that they could thematically use life magic to drastically lower the AoE damage taken by their pets. Say 75%? Their pets by 75%. Okay, back to Warlocks. Now then, Affliction talent changes. Finally, the talent changes. Half a fucking hour into the video nearly. Improved Drain Soul, not grant you a buff after performing a killing blow while draining the enemy's soul. Instead, it'll increase the damage dealt by Drain Soul by 10% per rank. Hold on, that's not half an hour into the video. That's... Okay, it's 26 and a half minutes. I forgot how many times I had to restart the recording. I was going by the streaming timer. Improved Curse of Weakness will be removed from the game. New talent. Improved Fear. Requires 10 points in Affliction talents. 3-point talent. Passive. Reduces the chance that Fear will be interrupted by damage clause by 5% per rank. Note, I might nerf this to 3/6/10%. This talent could be replaced, that is 3% at rank 1, 6% at rank 2, 10% at rank 3. I might nerf it to that. This talent could be replaced with a completely different talent in the same position with the same cost, so long as it abides by the following rules. Number 1. It must not be a talent that you wouldn't want to have while someone else in your group has it, as opposed to when that ain't the case. Group as in PvE group. If it's essential for PvP, then it must also be useful for raiding, or possibly, or optionally, essential for raiding. Number 3. If it's essential for raiding, it must also be useful in PvP, or optionally, essential for PvP. The talent must not be basically useless in PvP. If a talent is essential for raiding, it must not be useless for most solo play. Moving on. Amplified Curse will not affect Curse of Weakness. I do not want Warlocks to have to worry about rotating Amplified Curses of Weakness on raid bosses, nor for it to be abused because I don't design raiders around it. Amplified Curse may also be consumed to increase the damage dealt by Curse of Doom by 20%, making up for its inability to affect Curse of Weakness to not until level 60. Nightfall stacked up to 5 times. It'll also increase the range of Fellbolt by 10% per rank while active, not per stack. And it'll have a 4% chance per rank per tick of Drain Soul to proc off of Drain Soul. Each instant Fellbolt consumes 1 stack of Nightfall. So if you got 5 stacks of Nightfall, then that gives you 5 instant Fellbolts, formerly called Shadow Bolt. The second allows Affliction Warlocks to not have to interrupt Drain Soul to use their Nightfall procs so that they won't have to worry about wasting them. And this is also part of making Affliction Locks spam Drain Soul over Fellbolt in raids, not counting Nightfall procs. It'll make them feel more like their Affliction specs. Improved Curse of Exhaustion will be a prereq for Dark Pacts, ensuring that if raided Affliction Warlocks do not have to respec the perhaps essential PvP talent called Improved Curse of Exhaustion. Shadow Mastery will only increase the Shadow Mastery will only increase the damage dealt and life stolen by your Affliction spells, and I'll probably rename the talent at some point to Fell Mastery. Shadow Mastery will also grant each hit from your reflection spells a 1% chance per rank to decrease opposed magical damage up by 1% magic debuff for 30 seconds, stacking up to 5 times when the spell removes it all. This will hopefully start to get an Reflection Warlock in 5 to raids. If Dark Pact drains the maximum amount of mana possible from the demon, that is, enough that the mana steal is not limited by the demon not having enough mana, then the next Affliction spell, casted by the Warlock within 4 seconds, will deal an additional 15% damage. This will cause Dark Pacts to actually be worth taking over Demonic Sacrifice in raids. Demonology talent changes. The talent, Improved Health Stones, will be removed from the games that I don't have to balance what to share a cooldown with around that talent. This means that I'll get to make all the items to be about 83% as powerful as they otherwise would have to be. All the items that Health Stones share a cooldown with. New talent to replace it, Demonic Warding. Increases the armor and health, 2-point talent passive. Increases the armor and health regeneration granted by demon skin and demon armor by 15% per rank. And increases the shadow resistance granted by demon armor by 15% per rank. This is a 0-point talent. Excuse me. This is at the top of the talent tree I meant. It's actually a 2-point talent. This talent can be replaced with a completely different talent in the same position with the same cost, so long as it abides by the following rules. The same rules as for Improved Fear. For replacing Improved Fear. Improved Imp will only increase the maximum and total damage dealt by the Imp's Firebolts by 12% per rank. This way, you won't be getting an Improved Imp just for better blood packs and then feel a bit bad about it if someone else in your group has Improved Imp, and no one will yell at the raid leader when he forgets to put the guy with Improved Imp in the main tank group. Improved Spell Stones will be merged into Improved Fire Stones and occupy the location of Improved Fire Stones. And it'll be renamed to Master Conjurer, and the talent will be moved downwards by 1 space, becoming available 5 levels later than before, making the talent hopefully be worth getting, and making room for Improved Fell Hunter, the new talent. Design note, I'll probably have to buff this harder or replace it with a new talent entirely. New talent, Improved Fell Hunter, because why the fuck not? They get Improved Imp, Improved Succubus, Improved Voidwalker, but not Fell Hunter. So yeah, requires 20 points in Demonology talents. Passive, 3-point talent. Increases the effects of your Fell Hunter's Paranoia and Tainted Blood spells by 10% per rank. The healing from your Fell Hunter's Devour Magic spell by 10% per rank. And the duration of the Silencing Lockout from your Fell Hunter's Devour Magic spell by 10% per rank. All effects are rounded down, notably meaning that the duration of Spelllock silences only increase once you spend a third talent point on the talent. This talent is being added because they can improve. I already said it. Improved Enslaved Demon will be renamed to Duress, and it'll also, in addition to its vanilla function, it'll also cause all demons controlled by you, enslaved or not, to gain plus 20% resistance to fear per rank, but not turning, causing the talent to hopefully be of use in PvP. By turning, I mean spells such as Turn Demon. By the way, Paladins get Turn Demon now, not just Turn Undead. So yeah, at rank 5, Improved Enslaved Demon, at rank 5 Duress, your demons will be immune to fear. Your Imps, your Succubi, your Voidwalkers, your Fell Hunters, and your Enslaved Demons. All going to be immune to fear with that talent at max out. So it's going to be of some sort of use in PvP. Hopefully. Demonic Sacrifice will be buffed to also grant the Warlock health and mana equal to half of the demon's remaining health and mana upon spellcast, causing its spell to be of some sort of use in PvP, even if you have Master Demon Knowledge as a Soul Link. Now Destruction talent changes. Improved Shadow Bolt will be renamed to Improved Fellbolt, and it will grant the target it'll grant you a 20% chance per rank upon Fellbolt crit to cause the target to take 20% extra shadow damage until either 4 non-periodic sources of shadow damage are dealt, or 12 seconds elapse, whichever comes first. Instead of causing all of your Fellbolt crits to cause the target to take 4% more shadow damage per rank until your 4 non-periodic shadow damage sources are dealt, are applied, or 12 seconds elapse, whichever comes first. Also, this debuff will not be consumed by shadow elemental damage, a la Ice Blade Hacker's Frost damage. This change is being made to make it stack better for people who get different ranks of the talent and are in the same group, and to make sure that weapons that deal shadow elemental damage are not particularly undesirable in raids. I will consider nerfing improved Felbolt's damage bonus if Warlocks hit too hard in raids without a debuff limit. Bane, the talent, will reduce the casting time of Summon Fellfire by 1/10 of a second per rank. Destructive Reach will also increase the range of Summon Fellfire by 10% per rank, that is 3 yards. Improved Flash of Pain will reduce the cooldown of Flash of Pain by 3.5 seconds per rank, up from 3 seconds per rank, making the talent be roughly as beneficial to improve Firebolt if not at Flash of Pain's base damage has been massively nerfed. See many changes below. Improved Searing Pain will be renamed to... I haven't decided the name yet. And it'll only grant 1% spell crit to Searing Pain and Summon Fellfire, 1% spell crit per rank to Searing Pain and Summon Fellfire, as well as causes your Summon Fellfire spell when it crits to have a 20% chance per rank. To increase the chance that the opponent is critically stricken by a spell by 2% for 15 seconds. Magic debuff. Tentative duration. 2% is additive, not multiplicative. This will serve to get a Destruction Warlock invited to raids. Ember Storm will also grant you an amount of fire resistance penetration based on your talent level and character level. So at rank 5, at level 60, that's going to be 60 times 0.15 times 5. So at rank 5 at level 60, that's going to be 45 fire resistance that you ignore. This is part of making Fire Destruction Warlocks be viable in Blackrock Mountain and Nixia's Lair without having much effect upon PvP. Conflagrate will no longer consume Immolate's debuff. Instead, it will reduce the duration of all Immolates on the target, which will make sure that Deep Destruction Warlocks do not view Conflagrate to be useless in raids, and therefore they'll actually get over Demonic Sacrifice. Design note, Shadow Deep Destruction Warlocks will not be a thing. Is that a problem, I wonder? Ooh, not minion changes below. Warlock Demon changes below. Wasn't looking at my keyboard. Okay. Now, anyway, concerning Fire Warlocks in Blackrock Mountain and Nixia's Lair. All dragons and flame wakers and shit like that, but not fire elementals proper, are hard capped at exactly as much fire resistance as it'll take to resist 50% of fire damage dealt on average by enemies of their level. So in the case of level 63 guys, that's a bit over 200 fire resistance. However, Ember Storm exists. A new elixir called Major Elixir Searing Flames exists, which gives you fire resistance penetration. There's also a regular version with less. And mages get a talent called Critical Mass that incurs a complicated debuff that, when it's at its full power, reduces the enemy's fire resistance by substantial amounts. Anyway, so yeah, Fire Warlocks are going to be actually a thing in the Molten Core, Blackrock Depths, Nixia's Lair, and Upper Blackrock Spire, and Lower Blackrock Spire, and Blackwing Lair. Moving on, Warlock Demon changes. Torment will have its threat generation increased by enough that a leveling Warlock, demon or not, will generally not pull aggro off their same level Voidwalker or have had an untimely crit or some shit, unless you're 2 levels away from a new rank of Torment. This is so I haven't decided the actual numbers yet. This is so that Warlocks do not choose solely due to their Voidwalker's lack of threat generation to levels of Affliction Warlocks instead of a Demonology Warlock. Lash of Pain's damage will be quadrupled on all ranks, but Desuccubi's melee damage will be reduced accordingly, such that their damage will be the same as it was before versus the typical NPC at their level. Damage per second, overall damage per second, not just melee. This will cause Warlocks to actually make their Succubi cast Lash of Pain instead of using them as a mana battery for solo content via Dark Pact to level up faster. All raid bosses will be immune to the Doomguard's cripple spell if it was not already the case. It shall be ensured that all abilities of all demons that are enslaved by Enslaved Demon will abide by some sort of global cooldown or non-global cooldown, at least while enslaved. Otherwise, enslaved Hellboars will be casting over 10 fire novas per second, among other even more broken things. All Warlock demons will, when attempting to attack an opponent in melee, attempt to position themselves in such a manner that they are not hitting the front of the opponent. They, if they are not hitting the back arc of the opponent, will reposition themselves so that they are hitting the back arc of the opponent, though they may attack the front arc of the opponent if they are not enraged to the back arc of the opponent yet. By back arc, I mean the back 180 degrees. When the Warlock demon has aggro on its target, it'll attack the front of that opponent until it loses aggro. After which point, it'll go to the back arc of the opponent. This will serve to make Warlock demons not incur parry hates in raids and otherwise be more useful in raids. It was not already the case before. Warlocks may not enslave demons that are already the minion of a non-player character because they're already enslaved. An NPC or a non-player character. I'll just go with an NPC. It looks easy. It's easy to read. Blood Pact and Paranoia will no longer generate threat. This will prevent very serious threat generation exploits from occurring. It shall be ensured that Warlock demons cannot go up slopes that player characters cannot normally go up, such that they can potentially pull Electrocutioner 9000 from far below its platform, or pull a Memlar to Coldbringer from low down the hill that he's on top of, for example. Also ensure that Warlock demons get hurt by lava. When an enslaved demon attacks someone in a zone where there are neutral guards and attack players are engaging in PvP, the neutral guards will initially attack the enslaver of said demon instead of whoever the demon is attacking, should the demon attack first, which will prevent a lot of griefing from occurring. Of course, if the demon stops being enslaved, then the guards will attack the demon instead. Of course, this does not mean that they cannot drop an Infernal or some shit on a low town, so there's Gold Shard that does not have neutral guards. And that's all I got for Warlocks. The next video will be on Shaman, so that one's going to be a doozy. But I already got it written down. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.